Chapter 1. Numb. There is more in us than we know. If we can be made to see it, perhaps for the rest of our lives we will be unwilling to settle for less. Kurt Hahn. The tragedy of life is what dies inside a man while he lives. Albert Schweitzer. A skeptic who distrusts relationships, a preacher with a broken marriage, a rock star who has lost his voice. An unusual combination for a vacation to Israel. I had always wanted to go to Jerusalem, see the city that stands at the crossroads of history. With my marriage crumbling, the trip now seemed less about a discovery of history and more a discovery of soul. No longer a trip. A pilgrimage. I was going with two friends, Josh, a skeptic who questioned the existence of God, and my friend Mark, a rock star who had lost his marriage and his voice. Mark had remarried, but his voice never came back. After 17 years of touring, he was on a search for what was next. The end is near. It was cold that January morning of 2009. I was digging through my suitcase, packing my things, and while checking my toiletry bag, I removed a container. The top fell off and hit the ground with an echoing clink. My wife's wedding rings. Angie had purposely placed them there for me to discover on the other side of the world. The previous night we'd had a blowout. I thought it had just been another familiar round of miscommunication. I hardly knew what to think anymore. My heart dropped, and my mind raced as I stood there holding the symbols of our eternal covenant. Her engagement ring in particular had always been special. In my teens, I discovered a handful of my father's baseball cards while exploring my grandmother's attic, and one lay face down on the floor, a 1956 Mickey Mantle. With little argument from my father, I claimed the cards as my own and stored them away. I was a senior in college when I decided to propose to Angie. I had no money, but a little bit of stock and those baseball cards. What could be a better reason to cash it all in? I drove to Hofert's Jewelers and bought her the ring. The ring now lying in the palm of my hand. I looked at the shiny band and at its sparkling diamond, and then at myself in the mirror. I felt numb. I've since learned that you cannot selectively numb. If you numb pain, you numb beauty. It's true. On that brisk January morning, my life was full of blessing. Parents and sisters who loved me, 4 beautiful children, wonderful friends, a job I loved, a trip to the Holy Land ahead of me, a life that seemed to have significance. It all had little meaning. I couldn't feel. Anger had turned into a dull, pervasive ache. I didn't hate my wife. I wasn't even all that shocked at her gesture. She was full of anger, and there was little I could do anymore to manage it. I stared at myself in the mirror, trying to see my soul. The light was going out. Tired of the tension. Have you been there? Wondering, what's the point? Asking if you have the stamina to go on? My son Jordan plays the guitar. I watch him often reach up to change the tension on the strings. Why? Well, without proper tension, one cannot experience beautiful music, harmonious melodies, compositions that stir the heart, the soul. God is repeatedly tuning our lives. Many of us, however, are stuck, tired of the tension. We've numbed ourselves. We have not been taught how to live in a state of contradictions, and we hide, we stare, we plod along, wondering about it all. All the while, God is tuning. we are unaware. While shutting out pain, we abandoned listening to the music. The beauty dances nearby, but we only see darkness. We are asleep. Spirituality means waking up. Most people, even though they don't know it, are asleep. They're born in their sleep. They live in their sleep. They marry in their sleep. They breed children in their sleep. They die in their sleep. People don't really want to be cured. What they want is relief. A cure is painful. Waking up is unpleasant. It's comfortable in bed. It's irritating to be woken up. Empty inside. In college, I once saw a poster that said, "Life should be gulped and not sipped." When we exit the simplicity of childhood, we begin the complexity of adolescence and adulthood with the tools given to us by our families and culture. With the independence we crave, we start accumulating. We accrue triumphs and failures in academics, athletics, the arts, finances, and relationships. We learn, we grow, we consider, we second-guess, we crash forward, we fall back. At times we see it for the adventure that it is. We gulp it, we embrace the tension, we live fully in the unknown. At other times, we get timid and shy. We discover that control can be a useful tool to manage our circumstances and get from others what we need. Comfort, power, and approval become dominant forces and seem to woo us. When we cave to their calling, however, we are always left empty. The great romance seeps away. Indeed, the many forces driving modern life have not only assaulted the life of our heart, they've also dismantled the heart's habitat, that geography of mystery and transcendence we knew so well as children. And we are left holding the cup of life, content only to sip, because we are afraid that what little is left will soon evaporate. Anxiety rushes in like a flood, hurt and shame move in as neighbors. Freedom is replaced by bondage, and we are controlled by the illusion of control. We stop feeling. We wonder when there will be nothing left inside. My dear friends David and Leslie wrote these lyrics. When the pieces seem too shattered to gather off the floor, and all that seems to matter is that I don't feel you anymore. No, I don't feel you anymore. I need a reason to sing. I need a reason to sing. I need to know that you're still holding the whole world in your hands. I need a reason to sing. When I'm overcome by fear and I hate everything I know, if this waiting lasts forever, I'm afraid I might let go. I'm afraid I might let go. I need a reason to sing. I need a reason to sing. I need to know that you're still holding the whole world in your hands. I need a reason to sing. This was me. I had stopped feeling. You may know what that's like. Feelings that previously seemed important have vanished. We used to care. Now we don't. We used to fight. Not so much. We used to get angry. Waste of energy. Something inside is dying. And that something is called hope. Quest for Eden. A litany of suppressed and unidentified patterns of behavior in our 16 years of marriage had stacked themselves in a corner for years, visited but never fully explored. Over the past year, the stack had fallen over, and Angie and I found ourselves in an absolute mess. My determination to spend time with my skeptic and rock star friends became the catalyst for our nosedive. For Angie, this decision transported her to the pinnacle of her pain. It left her feeling rejected and abandoned. Her story had shaped her in such a way that she craved attention. Being a firstborn, and assuming this was a love language thing, I did everything I thought possible to supply what she needed. After years of emotional maneuvering, my tank emptied, and I found that I had little left to give. I didn't have enough awareness to realize it at the time, but what I thought was unconditional love was simply pain management. I didn't want to hurt Angie or make her angry, so I capitulated regularly to her preferences and desires. In her lack of awareness, she was hoping to get from me something I could never deliver. A fellow human could not meet her quest for satisfaction and closure. Only God could satisfy the longings that seemed to overtake her, and even then, the satisfaction would be momentary. I had my own issues to contend with. My inability to set boundaries and fear of disapproval were hindering our relationship. Unknowingly, we were both on a quest for Eden, and in this lifetime, Eden was not accessible. The night before I left for Israel, we had slammed into another disastrous moment of miscommunication. We were so far off the map. I had no idea what to say or do anymore. In Angie's fear, she felt rage. In my insecurity, I chose silence. By morning, with no resolution, I was left with my wife's wedding rings and words of anger echoing in the chambers of my heart. I felt very alone, disrupted, disconnected. We each are asked to make our way through the drama of our bleeding, to the stripping of our will, through the tensions of our suffering, to the humility of surrender, where we might learn the ordinary art of living at the pace of what is real. Mark Nepo.